What's up? We got The Flash, Season 2, Episode 22, Invincible. So this episode starts off with Zoom's Earth 2 meds attacking and the police trying to defeat it, but then but then the Flash defeats one of the meds and Bear defeats the meds, but then Barry's like, before we were defeating like one med, but now we have to defeat like 100. So then they return to Caitlin returning, and they're like, Zoom just, she's like, how'd you escape? And he's like, he just let her go because, actually she kind of let herself out based on the last episode. But anyway, yeah. So now Barry awoke Jesse from a coma last episode, so they're kind of like, Barry's acting kind of different. He's acting overconfident. Like he can do anything. And he's like, well, the time that Speed Force must have done. Even Henry's like, Barry, you're acting more overconfident. And he's like, wow, you cannot say to me, you were not there. You were not there for the rest of his life. You were not there. And he's like, Barry, I miss not being there for you, bro. I miss not being there for you for college and taking your college tours and all this stuff. But I'm making up time now. So then we see someone walking up to Mercury Lab and Sonic screaming it, destroying it. Yeah, also Caitlin has Zoom PTSD. So then Barry zooms in, saves Dr. McGee, and Dr. McGee's like, hey, Mr. Allen, and she's like, I'm not dumb. Then we see Earth 2 Laurel. Yeah, Earth 2 Laurel, still played by Kate Cassidy, of course. Earth 2 Laurel, and she's like, boom, and leaves. Okay. Let's see Laurel. It may not be the Laurel that we knew for 4 seasons on Arrow, but at least it's a Laurel. At least it's a Laurel. So as I said before, Caitlin's having Zoom PTSD because she keeps saying that Zoom's coming after her. So Wally tries to defeat a meta, but they're like, he's like, hey, these are not bad guys, Wally. These are meta-humans. You're going to get yourself killed. And he's like, hey, he just wants to prove to the Flash that he's worth saving. And he's like, after he's the guy that avoided his dying mom for weeks. And he's the one that started the whole meta-apocalypse in the first place by having the Flash give Zoom his speed. So yeah, and he also did another third thing that he's like, he has a lot, to him he's not special because he has a lot of whole thing to make up for. So yeah, so then Barry should just, then they're like, hey, and then he's like, it's Laurel Lance. And he's like, Laurel, and she's like, Laurel Lance is dead on this earth anyway. Black Canary, bye Birdie. Yeah, really having and he's like, Earth 2 Laurel, and he's like, her doppelganger? He's like, we just know her. We loved her. Me too. Even if you guys didn't even know her for like, 2 episodes? You guys didn't, did you? Did you guys have an anime crossover that I didn't know about where you had more conversations with her? But on the live action sense, you guys only have like 2 episodes with her. So he's like, what do you call you? And he's like, you can call me Black Siren. And she's like, yeah, that's a super cool name. And she's like, and he's like, why did you take down Mercury Labs? And she's like, I like to watch them crumble and fall. Your neck's red. And starts screaming him with 200 decibels to kill a human. But then Wally just, and she's like, how? And she's like, let's quiet things up a bit, and starts fighting him and beats Barry. And she's like, and Earth 2 Laurel's like, oh, she's like, how many messages did send over here? He should just send her because he would have already been. Then Wally knocks her out, says get in, and then Joe's for some reason mad at this. He's just like, oh, I'm guessing Wally didn't listen to your conversation. Dude, Joe, your son just saved your other son's life, and you're mad at Wally for doing that. You're mad at Wally for being there in the first place. But if he hadn't been there, Barry would you would have to bury Barry. Yeah, not making a Barry joke, but Barry would have been dead. So instead of getting mad at Wally for being there, congratulate Wally for actually doing something in the show and saving Barry's life. Instead of being mad at him for being there in the first place, congratulate him because you wouldn't even have a conversation with Barry if Wally hadn't been there to save his life. So Joe, who are you more mad at? Barry? Wally? You're mad at Wally for getting in the tank with the meta, but you're still mad at him, but he saved Barry's life. Joe, I don't understand why you're mad. Yeah, so I don't get it. Why Joe's mad at Wally, saying Wally could be killed, but Barry could be killed. Like, Barry could be dead if it wasn't for Wally pulling a Felicity and hitting Earth 2 Laurel with his car. So Barry, before that, Barry sped up to say, "Hey, Barry," and he's like, "I guess you got your speed back," and he's like, "Yeah," he's like, "You're not same, we're not different." He's like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Same traumatic backstory, got our powers, blah, blah, blah. We're basically the same person, Barry." He's like, "Yeah, no, we're not." And he's like, "Well, Barry, as you're playing the good little boy, he's busy winning." And zooms off. So he basically has a conversation with Black Siren about, Black Siren seems like a cool name. What's a better name? Black Canary, Black Siren. I think Black Siren's a cool name. And he's like, yeah. So he's like, hey, yeah. So he's like, hey, as for top 10, he's like, why don't you just go destroy another building? And he's like, what will you be doing? And he's like, no good. And so Caitlin and Cisco decide to dress up as Killer Frost and Reverb to trick Black Siren, but when Black Siren's like, Reverb, catch, and he catches with his right hand, and she's like, Reverb has left hand, and she's like, and then Cisco just blasts her, and they're using the Earth frequency, and she's like, there's nothing on this Earth that can stop us. And then she just starts, from the pain of the sonic thing that's going on, and so they kidnap her. Some of the Zoom metas are arrested, and some of them just left town. So they're like, should we tell Sarah Quentin Detective Lance about her? Sarah still thinks her Laurel's not dead. Unless when this episode takes place, if you tell Sarah about Earth 2 Laurel, she'll be wondering where's Earth 1 Laurel? Because she still thinks she's alive when we know she's dead. But she's like, oh yeah. But she's like, yeah, I know what. And she's like, and he's like, I know what talking to your family's talking is like, and he's like, she's not even Laurel. He's like, just a poor imitation. How dare you talk to Black Siren like that? I like Black Siren. I'm gonna say it. It's just cool to have Laurel on the show. We already lost our Laurel thanks to the terribleness of season 4 writing. So to have another Laurel be the Black Siren version, it's still good. It's still good. So then Wally and Jesse flirt. Cisco keeps seeing the birds in a vibe they keep seeing, and he's like, what did you just see? He's like, what do you mean seeing? He's like, Cisco sees visions. And he's like, what did you see? And he's like, I think he just saw Earth 2 being split in half. You didn't see it, I just saw the end of the world. And then Zoom shows up saying, this is over, Flash. And Zoom speeds out, Barry speeds out. Wally now knows Barry's secret. And that's basically my I screamed because it's just like, Wally now knows who Barry is. Yeah, so then Barry's like, so Barry's just like saying no, and he's like, you're just gonna watch you're just gonna prove that you're just like me watching your parents die like he did. It's gonna make you just like him. And he's like, and Barry and Jace and Hunter zoom stabs Barry's dad in the heart, killing him. Okay, there's a lot of things to unpack here. Earth 2 Laurel, great character. Even though she's kind of a villain, it's just great to have another Laurel in this Arrowverse. We already departed the Earth 1 version, so why not bring in the Earth 2 character? And she's still played by Kate Cassidy, who played the Earth 1 version. So it's just like, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. And they killed Barry's dad, which, yeah. Zoom went from stealing Barry's speed to now wanting Barry to be just proving he wanted to steal Barry's speed to be the fastest man alive, and now he just wants to be like, oh Barry. He just wants to say, oh Barry, now we're the same. Like, what a way to change your character's like way of thinking. He went from being, oh hey Barry, I want your speed to become more fast than you, to Barry, we're exactly the same, you and I. Confusing. Anyway, that was it for this video, and I'll see you next time for the season finale of The Flash Season 2. Yeah. Also, we hit 100 subscribers. 100 subscribers. Yeah, we hit 100 subscribers, and I hope we can get 1K soon. See you next time.